Hello, welcome to the Pause and Proceed podcast. I'm your girl, Bridget LeRae.
And I'm SB. What's going on?
What's up, girl?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. We got our first guest in the house today.
I guess about time, I presume, right?
Go ahead and presume.
Do you remember?
Proceed.
Wait, do you remember when we did that episode? You're like, yeah, we're gonna have guests. Like, oh, we are, huh? Yeah, it came to fruition, guys. It came to
because
fruition.
I wanted to have guests. SB like, I don't really know about that. What are you talking about? I done told everybody we're gonna have guests, and then you was like, we are. I'm like, oh, I thought we talked about that. She said, no, we didn't. So now we talked about it, and she's okay with it, but not every episode. What did you say?
Not every episode, every other episode. Because I feel like, we can carry it pretty good between me and you, but it's nice to kind of mix it up every so often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's entertaining.
Yeah, I like people.
Yeah,
I like to talk to people.
Yeah. Of course you do. We all know that. Coach Bridget, all right? But yes, so our very first guest is my dear friend Tasia Davies. Hi, Tasia.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be out here in Cali.
Yay!
Even though it's a lot colder than Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah,
it's
for
like
real.
80 degrees there, and I left there to come here to the 40s. So.
That's crazy.
We're
Usually
getting to
it's usually the other way around.
Right.
That's what I was trying to tell her the whole time. I'm like, and like she was singing Tony, and that was rains in Southern California as it was raining in Southern California. But even for us, like all that rain that we got is not normal. I'm like, the one weekend that she gets away, it had to rain.
Do you feel responsible for the weather?
I do.
It's
Even
like,
though I'm
sorry.
not. Right, because like, you want people to visit to have like a really nice sunny California experience. You know what I mean? But we getting the sun today. We making the best out of it.
Is this your first time here, Tasia?
No, this isn't my first time here. I came pre-pandemic. I think it was like right before the pandemic hit.
I think it was 2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really pre-pandemic.
It was beautiful weather.
Yeah.
So it's not like we didn't get to see the city. And
yeah.
So it was different. But hey, I can say I was in California for like the coldest winter ever.
You can't.
The coldest winter ever.
I wish they would have made that movie, man.
Oh, man.
Did you read that book?
Sister Soldier?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was like my favorite book. I was a hood chick.
Yes.
So that was my favorite book back in those days.
Yes. It's so funny.
Shout out to Sister Soldier, coldest winter ever.
You was a hood chick. It's still in there.
Well, according to my mama, it ain't, but
it's in there.
It's in there.
It's in there.
I mean, once it's in there, you can take the girl out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the girl.
And
right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Keep that authentication.
Authenticity coach right here.
There you go. What is that? Authentication. Yes.
You and your little words, your made up words. I love it. You go ahead. We're going to have to do like a little segment of SB's words.
That's fine. But today, guys, so we're going to talk about what stresses people out.
Stress.
What things stress you out, Tasia? Like, what type of stressors are you dealing with?
I would say for me, of course, it is work. That's always the number one stressor in my life.
Okay.
Has it always been that way? No.
Okay.
But I'd say definitely for the last 3 plus years, work has been like the center of the stress. You get other events and other things that happen that might stress you out.
Right.
But like work is that constant.
Okay.
What do you do for work?
So I actually own an insurance agency. It's a Geico office. We're located in a suburb of Charlotte. So, it's been a trial during this pandemic. Businesses don't operate the way they used to. So it's really just learning what businesses look like now.
Yeah, I can see that. Just being on like the outside and just going to a restaurant these days or taking a flight. Yeah, everything is different.
Yeah. But okay, small Black business owner. Yes to that. Yes to that. That sounds like it can be very stressful.
It is. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of, Black women in the industry, is definitely dominated by men. So just being a minority, a young woman in an industry that's dominated often by older men, it can be rough to find someone who's seeing things out of the same lens as you.
Yeah.
You can get really good advice, and you can talk to people and they can tell you what they think is great, but it's kind of from their perspective. They're not looking at it from my perspective.
Right.
Which
Right.
is different.
Yeah.
Right. Being Black, being a woman, got a couple of things
in the
adding up there.
insurance industry, and I sometimes I feel like I don't look like what people might expect
Yeah.
when you talk about being an insurance agent, and especially owning your own agency. So
And
it's
in the
been
South.
in the South.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a learning experience for me on how to be myself, but I guess still kind of fall into the social norm of how an insurance agent is supposed to look and act and all that stuff. So it can get stressful.
That is very stressful. We were
Mhm.
having a conversation about like professionalism and how you're supposed to that it's a little different now. Just a little with like the younger generation, but just how sometimes it can place you in a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
I think we touched on this before
Yeah.
on one of the episodes, how it can put you in a box sometimes and take away from who you actually are because you have to look and present a certain type of way, which I get. I appreciate the cultural professionalism because it can't be too loose, right? You got to have some type of, I guess, protocol of culture to fall into, but I guess it's just levels to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Extremes.
like as far as professionalism, I think when you are who you are, your authentic self, that's what sets you apart from the competition. Because and so many people can have an insurance company, but they're not going to be you have with the insurance company. So my advice is to, you can be professional and all that, but I think you'll bring in more business by being like authentically who you are because can't nobody duplicate Tasia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like even in nursing, I'm like, I'm me. I don't feel like I put on or try to be professional um or talking a certain put on my, quote unquote white voice.
Code switching.
I don't code switch. It's like I talk to my patients just like this. Like, girl, you already know, They be like, you think I should do this? Like, girl, no.
But you know what? I think it's a little easier for us because it's important for us to have that relatability when it comes to our patients. You know what I mean? To kind of come down to that level, like, listen, I is human too.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean? Versus not
A
saying healthcare
business.
isn't corporate because
Yeah.
it very much is, but
I would agree with you. It's a lot different in that as a nurse, I mean, you're selling yourself to a certain degree, but it's like, hey, you gonna get this medical care or not, whether it's for me or somebody else. You're not, it's not like you're just gonna get in the gurney and roll down to the next hospital and say, I want a different nurse. You're already here.
Yeah.
You're gonna get
That
what I'm
makes sense.
giving you.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
in my industry, you're selling yourself part of it because again, people are putting their most valued possessions in your hands, their homes, their cars, their assets.
Yeah.
So they want to feel as though they're working with someone they trust and
Right.
someone they feel comfortable with because again, for some people this is all they have. So, they want to feel like they're getting good service, that if they need help, you're going to be able to assist them, that you're knowledgeable. And like you said, being in the South on top of being younger in this industry, people are looking for other things too.
So how do you handle that? Like, or is this you always? Are you just always professional? Or what's the difference between who you
No.
are?
No.
What's the difference between who you are outside of work and then at work? Like, how do you handle that work-life balance?
So I definitely call it acting. I kind of closely like even when I hire new people, I tell them like you're gonna have to put on your acting hat in this role. Certain types of customers want this type of service. These type of customers want that type of service. This person from here wants you to do this. This person down here wants you to do that. So you have to be able to adapt to whatever style this particular customer likes.
Right.
So
Hey.
I
It started hitting, didn't it?
I'm sitting here trying to.
Somebody phone ringing and it's bopping like.
Oh, sorry, Tasia. Go ahead.
So it's one of those things where I always feel like there's work me,
Mm-hmm.
which is still a little bit of me. Like I'm in there a little, but then there's out of work me, and people who know me outside of work are like, "Oh yeah, you're a whole different person."
What's the difference? Because I'm just meeting you today.
Right.
So who am I getting? Am I getting work Tasia or like Tasia?
I would say right
Tasia?
now you're probably getting a little combination of the two.
Okay.
A little bit of the more professional Tasia, but still a little bit of the. I like to laugh. I like to joke. I like to have fun, and I do bring those things into the workplace. But you just have to be careful. You have to make sure everything is done in a very professional manner. You're not ruffling any feathers. So it's again, you're selling yourself. It's a sales position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
not
sense. You're selling everything.
You're the first thing you're selling is you, because it is insurance. We give a quote. So before we even get to this price, you've been on the phone with me. We've interacted. We've had conversations. I'm
Mhm.
trying to make sure you're sold on me before I have to try to sell you this price. So
Right.
if you're one step closer to that sale if the customer's already sold on you. So and when because it is a brick and mortar business, this isn't just like a phone call center situation. I have customers that walk in the door. As soon as they walk in, they're looking at everything from the decor to the people. This is a professional environment when they've come to do serious business.
Right.
Some of the most serious business that you really do when it comes to your personal things. So, um, it's important to still be yourself while it's still important to also come across as knowledgeable,
Right.
educated,
Right.
professional. And it's unfortunate that people will judge you based on how you look and what you're wearing, and even down to just your race or your age.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people when it comes to insurance, sometimes our more mature customers tend to feel as though if you're young, there's no way you can know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's though, the younger you are, the harder you have to work to make sure they understand that you do know what you're talking about. You've been doing this for a long time, those types of things.
Gotta schmooze them a little
You
bit.
have to schmooze them. You
Mhm.
have to schmooze them. You really, really
So is that
do.
stressful? Does that get stressful for you with having to put on this acting hat every day?
I would say sometimes. I would say that side of it is not the stressful side. I would say the more stressful hat that I have to put on as the owner and the manager and the person that runs the day-to-days of this business. Sometimes there can be things going on behind the scenes that just come along with being a business owner that you have to shield from your employees. Because, I feel like a lot of bosses have a tendency to show their emotions to their staff and it's not their fault. You're
Yeah.
having a bad day. Now you're having attitude with everyone. So I would say the harder part is going through what you go through as a business owner, the losses, problems, whether systems even being down and you can't sell anything. Still trying to keep that straight poker face
Yeah.
on for your staff, because if they see you're in a bad mood, how can I expect you to go out here and do your
Right.
best?
So how do you communicate with your staff when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed?
My staff knows I'm pretty go with the flow. I pride myself on making sure they're capable of doing their job with or without me in their face.
Right.
That's good.
Because I know I'm going to need those moments where I do need to go in my office and close the door.
Right.
And I need them to
And
know.
scream in the pillow?
And I need them to be able to function. Even though that's not my norm, I'm in a comfortable enough place with my staff where I can say, you guys, I need a minute in my office.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, cool, take as long as you need. And they can successfully do things without me there, to have to hold their hand. I also, I keep it real with them. Like if something really, really bad is going on that I can't really talk to them about, which I can't talk to them about everything from the
Right.
business standpoint, I'll just let them know, hey, today's the day, y'all. I'm here if you need me. I'm not going to ever be rude to them or disrespect them, but I'm probably going to be a little off, doing my own thing, getting some stuff done today. So I just try to keep our communication on those days a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way, I'm not coming off rude or, creating a bad energy or a bad vibe in an office. It's an open office. So it's an open floor plan. Everyone's like desks are on the walls and everyone can see and talk to each other. So when one person's in a bad mood or there's a bad energy in there, everybody feels it.
But your
Turn it
office has a
off.
door. But,
My office has a door.
But everybody else is on the floor. Gotcha.
Everyone else is on the floor. That's right. I can step away. So I just try to do that. But that's probably the more stressful part because I can get on the phone and put on my sales hat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In a
that
second.
makes
I've been doing
sense.
it forever.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes,
Mhm.
the BTS,
The behind the scenes.
the behind the scenes.
So in starting a business, what would you say was the most stressful situation you had to deal with?
Whew. Again, it doesn't help. I started it at probably one of the most stressful times in everybody's life.
Mhm.
Anyway,
COVID.
just with COVID.
Yeah, okay.
But I would say for me, the most stressful parts of opening the business was finding staff and finding a location. Because I'm in Charlotte, it's a very fast growing area.
Yeah.
There's not always as much maybe real estate as you might find like out here in a place like
Yeah.
Los
It's a lot of
Angeles.
successful Black people in Charlotte, right?
There's a lot of successful Black people in
Yeah.
Charlotte, absolutely. And because the city's growing so fast, there's a lot of demand for commercial real estate and a lot of businesses coming to the area, things popping up everywhere you look.
Yeah.
So it took a really, really long time to lock in a proper location
Mm-hmm.
for the office. And, there's the whole contracts and negotiations that come along with that. I don't know if either of you have ever gone into looking for commercial real estate, but it's not like
No.
an apartment where you
Nope.
just find it and you sign the lease and you move
Yeah.
in. It's weeks or months of negotiations back and forth on what you give, what I give, how long I'm here, what I'm responsible for, what you're responsible for, and that part, is very stressful.
Sounds like it.
It can get down to how many parking spaces they even want your people to have. So the negotiation, I didn't know, like this was all new to me.
Yeah.
No one I know owns a business, especially a business that actually is a storefront.
Right.
So it's like, gosh, I thought I was just going to walk through the space, say, I like this one,
Right.
sign the lease,
Be on your
merry
merry
way.
way.
But
Right.
it's not like that. So, luckily I had some good people that I worked with, my commercial real estate agent who understood that I was a newbie, had
Mhm.
no clue what I was doing. Helped me really look at the spaces and figure out which ones would work for my needs.
They were real patient with you.
Very patient with
That's
me.
good.
Also had my best interest in mind because those commercial real estate landlords, like they will try to make you responsible for everything. I'm like, I don't own
try to
this
take
space.
advantage of you.
This is your shopping center.
Mhm.
Right.
I just want the space. Well, you need to be responsible for the awnings outside. It can be any random things, and your commercial real estate agent has to be able to say no.
They're trying to hustle.
Yeah, of course, always.
Trying to hustle.
Always someone trying to hustle you.
Dang.
So, you have to make sure there's, clauses written in that say, hey, I'm opening an insurance agency. I don't want another insurance agency to be allowed in this shopping center.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So those are additional terms that you have to know to put in there because otherwise if so-and-so from this company decides they want, now I have a competitor across the parking lot.
Okay.
And no one really wants that. So
It's important.
It's really important,
Some
right?
jewels, y'all. Like I hope y'all listening. If you want to kind of open a brick and mortar business, like you dropping these jewels. Continue, friend.
Yes, she is.
so there's a lot of ins and outs that I just didn't know. So it was very, very stressful not knowing.
Yeah.
And that constant wondering of like, is this right? Is this the way it's supposed to be? Or is it supposed to be like that? A lot of Google, a lot of reading articles. Because I didn't have anyone.
You're not having any resources,
No.
really.
No.
And that's commendable.
Yeah,
Really it
resources.
is.
Yeah, you're the first out the friend group that owns a business. Are you like the first person in your family to own?
Well,
like
you
a
want to
brick and
tell them they don't
mortar?
know that y'all relationship. You want to tell.
Well, she's
How do
my
y'all-
friend.
Okay, how do y'all know each other?
Okay, so me and Tasia, this is like my day one. I want to say we probably officially met in 9th grade. We started hanging around each other probably in 7th grade. We met in Miss Disney's class, I think. Did we really was it Miss Disney? She probably don't even know. She just gonna sit there and smile
She
and look
did.
side to side.
She just smiled.
It was English, I think we were hanging with each other. But anyway, high school guys. High school, we're 37. I'm sorry,
From
I told our
Virginia.
age. 37. She's originally, I always want to say you're from Connecticut.
No.
I know. I always want to put you in that Connecticut. I know, but Connecticut always wants to come out. So originally from Massachusetts, she moved down here when you was like Virginia.
I was like 10.
10, and then relocated to Charlotte when you were 30, right?
32.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we've been riding and bumping
Riding
for
and bumping.
long time, guys. I can't believe
That
I
was so
just
Southern.
did that. You guys just see what I just did?
What?
That ghetto. Wait, I can't do it right.
That ain't
You know
ghetto,
how you-
girl. That's
Yeah,
culture.
that.
It's culture.
It's culture.
You know how many people want to mock that culture? Girl,
Everything.
if that's what you do, then do
I'm
it.
gonna mock everything.
Okay.
But yes, that's how we met, and I'm just, if I ever, this is what I want to say. We went out to eat. Sorry, guys, we're kind of like going backward, kind of, but it's gonna make sense. Just let me talk. So we went out to eat Friday, and I want to apologize for this, right? Because the waiter, we went to Korean barbecue. What was it called? Jinhwa or something?
I think so.
Jinhwa. Jinhwa is good. Y'all check out Jinhwa in downtown. Korean barbecue. Shout out to them. So we went out to eat, and I don't know. The guy asked us, they asked how you're doing. And did we bring up stress? I don't know what we brought up. Like, I don't know what we brought up. But the guy, I was like, she has a kid. Like, she's tired because she's a mother. And then, y'all had y'all dialogue. I think he was just asking us, were we relaxed? Are we stressed out? It was something with stress. And then I went directly to motherhood. And then y'all had like a little conversation, and you were telling him like, yeah, because I own a business and this and that and the third. And I was like, oh man, I hope she doesn't think I deduced her to just being a mom. So I don't even know if you even caught that. So I
think that happens a lot for me.
Yeah, and
that's
I'm
not
like,
uncommon.
Yeah, and I didn't want to deduce that because your stresses are not just coming from motherhood. It's coming. It's coming from you being a boss too. So I wish I could remember exactly the conversation, but I didn't want to feel like I deduced you just to being a mom.
I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I think and again, I don't think it comes from a place of unknowing.
Yeah.
And it comes from a place, I just say, from people who just aren't in that situation as me. So I can't.
In what situation? Mom and
being a
boss,
business owner in that way, in the way that I am.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's hard, and I tell Shara all the time, like, it's hard for me to even explain a lot of it to you, just to get into the nitty gritty, deep, dirty parts of it. It's like to try to help you understand kind of how, like, you posed the question earlier, like, I'm trying to understand how this whole thing works. Like, we literally had this conversation the other day about how people don't naturally understand how the insurance agency work. They know what it is, they know what it does, but they don't quite understand like the inner workings of it. You have to be in the industry. So it's like, why would anyone know that who doesn't work in insurance?
So we were talking about the stress that comes with her industry and how she doesn't even want to even bring it up to anyone because they can't necessarily relate to that. You know what I mean? Which I hate the fact that because you don't have people around you that can relate to that type of industry that you feel that way, because that's a lot of stress to keep to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing about stress is everybody's stressful. Everybody has experienced stress in their lives. So stress is relatable worldwide. And I think there is a major difference between stress and anxiety. Stress is like something that's happening externally. Say, you get stressed out with things that go on with work, things that may go on with your child. Shara gets stressed out with things that go on with work as well. So I think stress is something that you could share with your friends and have a conversation about, because we all experience it. Like when stress comes our way, we get into, fight or flight. That's when our autonomic nervous system takes over, and you start feeling all these feelings in your body, and it's like, okay, am I going to fight? Am I going to flight? Am I going to freeze? Am I going to, all those things that come with stress?
Yeah.
So we all can relate to being stressed out. And I said something about anxiety. So the difference between stress and anxiety is anxiety is, more internal. It's like a feeling of apprehension, like doom,
Yeah.
and so that's something that people live with on like a day-to-day basis. Like people with
Yeah.
anxiety, they're always just in that feeling. So some people that get anxious, I can understand them not feeling like they can't talk to certain people about anxiety because not everybody experiences anxiety.
Right.
But everybody experiences stress when you are in stressful situations. And I want to know, what do you all do? Like, what are some of your coping mechanisms when dealing with stress? When the autonomic nervous system start firing up, and then you start feeling all these things in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about stress is it can cause, high blood pressure, diabetes,
It manifests in the
stroke,
physical.
cancer. It causes all these physical
Mm-hmm.
manifestations. So what do you all do to handle stress?
I meditate.
Yes.
I meditate. I follow astrology sometimes because sometimes it's like, listen, I need to know how the planets and stuff is panning out. Let's just see what's going on here. I try to have. I may have conversations with people because I have to get it off. I write. I do a lot of journaling. What else do I do? I have to say mantras to myself. I have to
Yes.
say mantras to myself a lot of the time. Just to get through certain things or to bring myself back into like a neutral position. So that's how I handle it.
That's a good way of meditation is definitely key. That definitely helps.
It does.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't even people I think of meditation as like you have to sit there and be quiet and nothing's supposed to
Mhm.
you're not supposed to have any thoughts. Like you're
Yeah.
supposed to go into like a neutral mind space.
Yeah. Focus on your breath.
Silent, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like that. Like a lot of times when I meditate, I'm reciting mantras because it helps me to keep focus on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I do. What
Yeah.
you do, Tasia?
I would say I don't think I do anything specific. I think I live in a state of constant stress.
Mm.
So I think when you're someone who's like always stressed or is always
Yeah,
there's not like it's not like, well, something just happened and made me stressed out today.
yeah,
It's a constant stressful situation.
yeah.
I feel, owning a new business, my business is going it'll be 2 years in September. Those first few years are
Bop.
Yeah, those first 2
Bop,
years are
bop.
really, really rough on any business owner.
You were so slow
Yay!
with
That was
it.
my first time
Yeah.
pressing the button. Yay! Sorry, Tasia.
No, it's fine. So those first few years, anyone that owns a business knows, like, it's make it or break it. You're
Mhm.
just trying to keep your head above water. You're really just trying to stay open.
Yeah,
If you can survive those first few years, you might actually be successful in your
yeah,
business. So I'm still kind of in the thick of that. So I don't even try to not be stressed because I know stress comes with the territory.
yeah,
I just try to keep on moving and keep pushing through because it's not going anywhere.
yeah,
So what do you
yeah.
do
I
to
own
relax?
it. Well, to relax, I drink wine.
Come on,
Sometimes,
wine.
Yes. Red or white?
both, all the above. I, you know, to relax.
You like, what is that?
Look,
Right.
I'm very tired at the end of the day. I'm very tired at the end of the day, so I wouldn't say relaxing is that difficult for me. So I'm happy to go to bed. I'm
Yeah.
happy to lay down. I'm
Yeah.
happy to pass out. So, I do have not small child, young child. He's 8, but he's very active too. He's in a lot of sports, so
Shout out to Lenny.
so
Lenny.
between work, basketball, cooking, cleaning, I don't have a lot of time to sit down and meditate
Mm-hmm.
or just do some of the things that maybe Shar might have to do in her spare time because I don't have that spare time.
Yeah.
Literally it's work, basketball, homework. Those things take up my whole day.
Yeah.
So stress looks different on me as a single mother, business owner, new business owner. It's just, let's just get through to tomorrow,
Yeah.
Let's just see what tomorrow brings. It's just trying to stay positive, I think, more so than really
Yeah.
trying to cope with the stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have high functioning anxiety, friend. What? 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 That's what it. I
Thank you.
mean,
That-
Is that a compliment?
No, you know what? I'm gonna say it is a compliment because sometimes people will check out when they get to a certain, they cannot function. So even though it doesn't feel good at all, you're still producing in that high level of stress and anxiety. You're still, even though it's still some things that, to cope with your stress, there's things
Yeah.
that's, that you could do that's better. But in the moment of you doing what you need to do, you're a strong Black woman. It's that thing.
Yeah, it's that thing.
It's that thing.
Yeah.
It's
And
that thing.
even though we are learning that pressure can be a bit toxic, I still think it's important that the fact that you just keep moving in your life and that you have this son that is free. You've done so well with my godson.
Oh,
Like,
godson.
yeah.
Aw.
He's a man. I like that little person. He's
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah. He's so funny. But I think considering the things that life has thrown at you, you've handled them very well. We just, and you're doing some things to get your stress together. But we be having that poker face. Look how she is now, looking all professional and
cool and calm.
What
I wouldn't expect anything less from like a longtime friend of yours because you.
What you mean?
God, that was actually a compliment. Jesus, what you mean? Because you're really cool, calm, and collected as well.
Oh, okay. All right, birds of a feather.
What you thought I meant?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. But I think a lot of people can relate to you because a lot of people. I'm single and with no children as well, so Shar and I can relate on that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, single moms, business owners, you're seeing that more and more.
Yes, you are.
These days, and one of the things that I would like to give is you can do so much in maybe 5 minutes. I'm saying this, I don't have children, but I'm saying 5 minutes. So the thing about stress, like when we get into fight or flight, the thing that will calm that down is tapping into your vagus nerve, which is the rest and digest nerve. So
right.
And what meditation helps with that. So if you was to just give yourself 5 minutes a day to just calm yourself, just to sit. And the thing about meditation is, like you were saying, but you don't have to like be still and quiet. One of the type of meditations I like to do is I like to sit. I'll set my timer on my phone, 5 minutes, if you will, and put my phone on, do not disturb, set the timer 5 minutes, and I allow the thoughts in my head to just run wild. And I'm just listening to the thoughts in my head. Like it's not me. Like I'm outside of my body listening to my thoughts and just allowing them to just go.
Yeah.
And in doing that, like the first time I did this type of meditation, I was like, man, my brain was like, this is so stupid. Why are you just gonna sit here for 5 minutes? Like it's so many things that you could be doing. Like really, you just sitting here like listening to your thoughts, talking to yourself. Like, are you crazy? Only crazy people do this, right? And then I start slowing down. I was like, gosh, I'm speaking so fast. I wasn't even allowing myself to finish a thought in my brain.
Will you pay attention to your thoughts like that? Yeah, it's erratic.
So I was like, if I'm thinking like that, I wonder if I'm operating like that, like outside of my body in the world. And I thought about like, yeah, man, I don't think that, for one, I allow other people to finish conversations because my brain is moving so quickly that I'm jumping in there so fast and, just not.
Make sure you're on the mate, baby.
Is Solomon saying something?
Yeah, that flash.
Oh.
Yes, I am.
Oh, gosh. See?
You were doing so good, too.
I was
this
doing
whole
so good.
time. See
Okay,
that?
let me pull this mic closer. So that's one of the meditations that I like to do is just to allow my thoughts to run wild and like not judge them, because the first time I was really judging them. And then you'll have, I feel like you'll have a revelation. So my revelation was I think super fast, like slow down, tap into that vagus nerve and just rest, relax. And so
how do you tap into your
how do you tap into
down
it?
a little
Great
bit?
question. So it's in getting still and quiet
Mm-hmm.
and just, like you said, have a word.
You don't have to bear down a little bit for
What
your
was that?
vagus nerve?
Oh, you thinking of like nursing, like
Yeah.
the vagus nerve?
Uh-huh.
No, I don't think you have to bear down. I think it's like you bear down on like a word or something. That's
Come on, bear down on a word.
Bear
I
down
like
on
that.
a word. So for me, I find myself, I can disassociate really quickly. So the word that I will bear down on is presence. You know, like Bridget, remain present, remain present, remain present. So I start off with like some deep breaths, right? And then I relax my body. I'll do like a quick body scan. Just tell them, you know, to relax your crown, relax your cheeks, relax. Just telling yourself to relax, like every muscle. And then, like once I'm feeling relaxed, then I will bear down on a word, and so that'll be just present, present, present. And in 5 minutes, I will feel so good and so open and aware and present that you can take that feeling with you throughout the day, even with all that's going on. So I
Right.
find that to be a very beneficial type of meditation to offset that autonomic nervous system, that fight or flight, and then tap into the vagus nerve, which is the rest and digest.
We're gonna have to use bear down on a word. Okay?
Bear down on a word.
Gnaw on it. Gnaw
Yeah.
on a word.
So what? So what do you think, Tasia? Will be a word for you to kind of bear down on throughout your day, if you can give yourself 5 minutes in the morning.
In the bathroom, I find peace in the bathroom. Y'all don't find peace in
Oh,
the bathroom?
girl, yes, the bathroom is so peaceful.
I think that it's a little bit different for me. A lot of what you describe
I
reminds me
knew she
of
was gonna say
a
something
lot
like
of
that.
what you, I'm glad you know me so well. A lot of what you just described with yourself, I see in her.
Yeah.
And I've always seen in her. It's very similar.
Mhm.
And Shara can tell you, I'm a very structured thinker,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a very deep thinker. I spend a lot of time thinking, and I have to spend a lot of time planning in my head. So like focusing like on one thing is like what I do from beginning to end. Though I don't know if it's something that I do it as a way to help with stress. Like
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I already am mentally preparing and planning and processing for the next day. I'm thinking into next week. I'm thinking into 6 months. Or I'll tell you, I'm thinking into 2 years.
Yes.
And I have like
Commendable.
a very
Yeah, she be thinking.
structured process in my head on how I want things to go. And by doing that, it helps me not be jumbled and not be worried. Like at least I have a plan on how to get things done in a way that keeps it as little stress for me as possible, even down to meal planning for the week for my son. Like something so small as not knowing what he's going to eat in the 30 minutes before we got to run out the house can create stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, what am I going to, I don't know. I don't have the ingredient.
Yeah.
Guess you're eating McDonald's. I don't want that. So for me, it's a constant planning of, okay, we're going to have this, 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 this. If I plan it all now, that'll reduce my stress later by putting myself in situations that I'm not prepared for.
Okay.
And I feel like when you're so jumbled like that and you're just working in the moment, it causes more of those like sporadic stressors, like, oh, shoot, I don't have this, or oh, shoot, I was supposed to do that, or I don't have those types of issues at all. Or if I do, it's like literally have to be like, okay, I just got a flat tire, something I had no control over. But if I can control it, I try to control it as much as I can so
By
that I'm
planning.
not stressed later by being ill prepared.
Okay.
So I think that's probably my way. My personal time in the evening, my alone time is often spent thinking, planning, getting things straight in my head. So that way I can have a smooth, stress-free day. As stress-free as possible tomorrow.
So what?
Alright.
Well, okay. What? I'm gonna ask this last question. Without being so much in control as far as your planning, which helps you, helps your anxiety, right? Helps lessen your anxiety.
Helps lessen the anxiety, helps lessen the stress that I'm know could come from not doing
Right.
these things.
Right. Is there anything else that brings your stress level down that you feel like you can do to kind of bring it down anything else that you can do that can bring your stress level down that doesn't have anything to do with you being in control?
No. I'm controlling.
Okay.
All right. Well,
That's good.
you heard it from Tasia. If you are a business owner and you're stressed out, planning helps with her stress. And as for SB and I, And for those of you who, don't have any children, or those of you who even do, I want to give you try meditation and
or even journaling.
Journaling.
Have you tried to journal?
Do something.
No, but I do like to adult color.
Oh, I love that. I got my mom
Yeah.
some coloring books
Yes.
as well.
Okay.
But
do.
yeah, find whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Find something to tap into that vagus nerve, that rest and digest, and allow yourself to just release. Because like we said, as nurses, we understand that stress causes a lot of physical factors, physical ailments, high blood pressure, diabetes, and even cancer. So you want to make sure you have some type of stress reliever going on, right?
For sure.
All right. Any last words for him, SB?
Just meditate. Meditate on something. You don't have to meditate crisscross applesauce, that type of meditation that people feel like we have to do. Just try to, like Bridget said, bear down on a word or focus on a word if you can. And if that's difficult for you, try to write. Writing and journaling helps me get a lot out. So we just want to, I want to just leave people with, let's try to find some balance in life. We're always going to be on a seesaw, but let's try to find some balance in life, and let's get those stressors down, because I know we're not trying to be out here ugly and old before it's our time.
No, not at all. So find what works for you, reduce your stress, and live a well-balanced life. Love you.
All right. Follow
Like,
us.
subscribe, follow, all of that.
All of that.
See you next time.
Peace.